Hey everyone, we're back with another episode of Rick and Morty, Rickmending your Mort. My apologies for this one coming out later than usual. I was out of town for a nerd convention, so yeah. Anyways, I don't have too many thoughts to share on this episode, seeing as it was this season's clip show or meta episode, but I did really enjoy it, so I still want to talk at least a little bit about it. So with that said, let's dive on in. This was Season 7's anthology type of episode, in a similar camp to the interdimensional Cable episodes and Morty's Mind Blowers. Being more of a clip show, this one is sort of skirting away from the intensely meta episodes of seasons past, such as Season 4's Never Ricking Morty and Season 6's Full Meta Jack Rick, which did see more criticism from fans than is usual for these types of episodes.
Before you say anything,
I knew it! Busted!
You're banned from that Carl's Jr.
It doesn't make the drive-thru an adventure, Morty. Invalid.
I, for one, am happy to get another episode dedicated to Rick and Morty adventures, especially if they're chopped up into nice bite-sized pieces, showcasing the vast world beyond the Smith house, and also their time together as grandpa and grandson. This one was a fun time where I never felt or had to worry that things were getting too serious or too meta to track. And I also really enjoyed seeing the more positive side of Rick and Morty's relationship.
I appreciate what you were trying to do with the punch cards, my whole groove thing.
Thanks. What do you say, Rick? Fly through space, come upon something, maybe I have a moral objection, stuff gets messy, and you ultimately bail us out?
Let's take it for a spin. Rick and Morty, we're back, baby!
I know that right now there's a ton of discourse going on that dives into this episode, people trying to dig into what hidden messages or themes lie beneath the surface. And personally, I'm a big fan of the theory that this episode is a sort of mirror for the audience, allowing the showrunners to poke fun at the more toxic fans, because, let's face it, Rick and Morty has one of the most toxic fan bases out there.
I want Szechuan sauce! Where's my Szechuan sauce? I'm Pickle Rick! What beloved dum-dum!
Now, that's not to say that there aren't those of us who can discuss this show without throwing insults and derogatory name-calling, but I think it's safe to say we've all seen Rick and Morty fans at their absolute worst.
Rick! 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 I'm Pickle Rick! Rick! Rick!
But digging even deeper than that, I thought it was really cool how this episode explored the concept of judgment, and more specifically, how it proposes the question of who has the right to cast blame or issue judgment in the first place. Who in reality is a good enough person to judge others?
Aristotle was Plato's student, and Aristotle believes that your character is voluntary because it's just the result of your actions which are under your control.
Rick and Morty has never shied away from these tougher subjects. In fact, one of the best episodes from this season so far, that's Amorte, has gotten into the very nitty-gritty with the taboo topic of assisted suicide. Morality and ethics are fine things to pursue, but letting those cloud your own judgment and boost up your own ego can, believe it or not, unintentionally result in terrible people. It gunks up the works and makes life even harder to understand. At the end of the day, this episode offers the hypothesis, or claim, that we're all jerks. Whether we start a problem or solve it, or merely observe from the sidelines offering no help, there will always be an angle in which we look like the a-hole.
What a bunch of a-holes.
At some point in history, we had drawn up enough lines in the sand asserting that these are the ones you cannot cross before you're no longer just a douche, you're a monster.
Give me your money.
Why don't you take this instead?
Jeffrey Dahmer?
Hi. What's happening?
I don't know, just run!
It's a fun idea to ponder, and I thought it worked really well within the climax of this episode, while still allowing for this clip show to feel like a fun, whimsical, one-off adventure.
Unidentified adventurers.
We are the guardians of this sanctuary. One of us tells only truths, the other only lies.
You ever this guy's wife?
Yes. Well, how about that? He guessed right.
Overall, I really enjoyed this clip show of an episode, especially after the highly canon, action-packed mid-season finale last week, which provided closure on years of building arcs. Rickmending your Mort serves primarily as a palate cleanser and gives the creative team a chance to go off the rails with dozens of smaller, bite-sized adventures featuring our main duo of Rick and Morty.
Hey look, Morty! I'm a leg! A leg, Morty! I'm Leg Rick!
And while not every joke lands, I still appreciated how this episode portrayed its cast of characters, from Rick Sanchez to Space Beth.
This is our target, Dichotomous Daniel.
That was my chair.
And even while this episode is mainly for laughs, it still finds a way to touch on some morality topics, such as who has the right to cast judgment, seeing as we're all flawed beings in a world where nothing matters.
Nobody exists on purpose. Nobody belongs anywhere. Everybody's gonna die. Come watch TV.
Honestly, the more I think about it, this was a really great version of the anthology episode, seeing as it's filled with the best things from each type of episode and has a ton of callbacks either literally or conceptually to Season 1 and the first interdimensional cable.
Your Honor, if everyone here has truly seen everything, then you all know my grandson and I did this whole thing with giants.
Did what whole thing?
I will address that.
This is an open and shut case, Morty. You know, what do you think is gonna happen? Some magical angel's gonna show up and...
Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the violation of civil liberties.
But I want to hear from you, so let me know down below in the comments section what you thought of this episode. I want to see all your thoughts and theories, so please don't be shy. If you enjoyed this quicker review, let me know by hitting that like button, and if you want to hear more of my thoughts on Season 7 thus far, you can check out my previous episode reviews using the links in the description below. I also have a bunch of Rick and Morty rankings, which you can check out using the playlist in the outro, but as for now, that's it from me. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you all next time.